Look, we had the most qualified person who'd run for president in this country's history at the top of the ticket. That in itself should have got this thing won.
Glad that you're here at this gala. Like I was telling them, you can't have a gala without the gay and then the comedy.
Exactly.
You just
That's
can't.
right. Between us, we are the gala.
Gay gala, gala gay, gay gay gay. Ooh, ooh. Did I just hear Tim Walz say that cackling Cam Harris was the most qualified presidential candidate that we have ever seen? Cackling Cam, the leader of the cackling choir, the lady whose only discernible skill is laughing on command, the woman who just about blew the button off her pants because she thought it was unbelievably funny that the word gala included the word gay. I'm sure that gala was held in a gay garage where plenty of people were getting engaged while the Butt Bongo Band was playing the woke classics. Is it any wonder why Cam Harris lost in a landslide? Like I told you guys after the election, the Trumper did not win. Cam Harris lost. The decision that was made in November, it had very little to do with the Trumper. Republicans, they could have ran the uncharismatic Mittens Romney, and his soft ass would have won that election. America not only rejected Cam Harris, America rejected everything that she was representing. America rejected the woke fungus. With that being the case, you would think that Cam Harris would have the self-awareness to realize that she's never going to be president. But instead, she seems to be preparing herself for another run of huge embarrassing failure in 2028. Over the last 6 or so months, since her brutal, humiliating defeat, Cam Harris has barely been seen publicly. Several weeks after the election, she appeared to have gotten drunk and posted on Twitter where she was begging the family and friends that supported her to not give up. Back in January, Cam and her feminine husband, Doug, what up? Doug. God, Doug. Doug took the loss harder than anyone else. For years, Doug has been aspiring to be the First Lady. He had big plans for his 4 years in the White House. He planned on launching programs in schools where he would teach young men how not to be masculine just like himself. Don't worry, Timmy. If you put your mind to it and apply enough eyeliner, you can be First Lady too, just like me. Anyway, back in January, Cam and the Duggar, they made a rare public appearance at the Lakers game. Cam was leading Doug to their seats. They were walking through the crowd completely unnoticed as Cam was randomly waving at strangers trying to get their attention. Initially, they were surrounded by security, but once security realized that no one was really bothering them because no one knew who in the hell they were or cared, security made better use of their time by guarding actual celebrities. Outside of a handful of appearances, Cam Harris has been hiding from the public until now. Last night, it was the immaculate return that no one asked for. Last night, cackling Cam Harris made one of her first public speeches since America rejected the woke fungus. And as expected, it took Cam Harris all of 5 minutes to humiliate herself. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. As always, I appreciate you guys and your support. Last night, Cam Harris dodged the doodle on the sidewalk in San Francisco to speak at an event that was organized by something called Emerge. Emerge is an organization that supports women who are currently running or holding political office. Well, Casey, if that's the case, why in the hell is Cam Harris speaking at this event? She's not running for office and she doesn't even have a job. That's a great question. I actually contacted my inside sources and they told me that the original keynote speaker was going to be Elizabeth Warren. Unfortunately, Liz had a scheduling conflict. She was busy strategizing with Squanto and Wahoo McDaniel. Apparently, they're planning to invade Tallahassee to take down the Seminoles. They also tried to get AOC LGBT, but she was busy changing the batteries in Bernie Sanders' pacemaker, so Emerge. They ended up settling for cackling Cam Harris. The night was promoted as a celebration. Since the event was held in San Francisco, I'm sure the rainbow flags were flying. There were plenty of supersized cucumbers in catering. Ironically enough, the party of inclusivity, they made the Immaculate Return of Cam Harris an exclusive event. In order to witness this historic event in person, you had to pay $250, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm sure all of the major television networks were there, right? I mean, every time the Trumper speaks, every time Barack Obama spoke, every major news network in the country was televising it. I'm sure that the networks did the same thing for Cam Harris, right? Unfortunately, it looks like the only network that bothered to show up was C-SPAN. But again, that's okay. Cam planned ahead for the complete lack of interest. Family and friends, or as Cam Harris prefers to call them, supporters. Supporters who could not afford to pay $250 to witness the immaculate return of cackling Cam, they could watch the event live online for the small price of $25. When Cam was in the White House, a carton of eggs cost $25. Now, a painfully boring 16-minute speech from one of the worst public speakers in politics is $25. The intent of this speech from Cam Harris, it was to demonize and attack Donald Trump. Yesterday, or maybe today, is the end of Donnie's first 100 days in office. Me personally, I've never understood why this is treated as a big deal. Matter of fact, I don't think it is. I think the mainstream media pretends it's a big deal, so they have content, they have something to talk about. I have never seen a president that was judged by his first 100 days in office. I'm pretty sure presidents are judged every 4 years. Does anyone remember what John Biden destroyed through his first 100 days in the White House? Anyway, Cam was demonizing the Trumper, but as expected, the speech took a dramatic turn. I don't know if the teleprompter quit working or the batteries in her earpiece went out and Cam no longer had access to the person who was telling her what to say, but either way, Cam Harris ventured off script, and just like on the campaign trail, the end result was huge embarrassing failure. Watch for yourself.
Please allow me, friends, to digress for a moment. Okay. It's kind of dark in here, but I'm asking for a show of hands. Who saw that video from a couple of weeks ago? The one of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo during the earthquake? Google it if you've not seen it. So that scene has been on my mind. Everybody's asking me what you've been thinking about these days. Well...
What the hell was that? What the hell is she talking about? My friends keep asking me what I've been up to. I've been feeding elephants at the zoo. You know who else likes to feed the elephants? My 8-year-old nephew, but like Cam Harris, he's not qualified to be president. You know, It amazes me how the woke media continues to cover for Cackling Cam. Over the last couple of months, the mainstream media has relentlessly defended themselves against accusations that they lied about the decline of John Biden. Media wants us to believe that they're fair. Media wants us to believe that they are balanced. But listen to some of these headlines. Headline at Bloomberg: Kamala Harris wants to be heard. California is listening. Yeah, I'm sure real estate agents in California are listening. If Cam Harris runs for governor of the People's Republic and wins, there will be for sale signs in every front yard. Headline at the LA Times: Kamala Harris blasts Trump's policies. There were similar headlines at MSNBC, the New York Times, but most of the mainstream media, they conveniently overlooked the embarrassing moment where Cam is reminiscing about feeding the elephants, or as Cam called it, a powerful metaphor. Strange. Although this is relatively minor, this is the difference between the mainstream media and digital media. Yesterday, I was watching Patrick Bet-David. They were grading the Trumper through his first 100 days in office. Patrick Bet-David and the other dudes on his show, they are diehard Trump supporters. But every single one of them gave an honest assessment of his first 100 days. If I remember correctly, I think the overall grade was a C+, maybe even a C-, which I think is fair. That's a fair assessment. Donnie has solved the problems on the southern border. He has damn near eradicated the woke fungus. He's installed law and order. He is deporting people who are here illegally. But at the same time, he has damn near destroyed the stock market with tariffs. He's created a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of volatility in the market. That does not mean that the tariffs won't eventually work, but they're not working right now. The plan might be great. The execution hasn't been that great. Patrick Bet-David talked about it for 20 minutes or so, and it was an honest assessment of the first 100 days. I'm sure guys like Brandon Tatum were just as fair, but that is not something that we get from the mainstream media. The media is too busy lying to tell us the truth. Cam Harris spent 4 months running for president, while the media spent 4 months trying to convince us that she was qualified when everyone knew the entire time that she wasn't. The mainstream media can't stand digital media. They claim we are dangerous, we don't have editors, we don't have checks and balances. But the main reason they hate digital media is because they have been exposed. Like I told you guys in November, Cam Harris was not the biggest loser in the election. I think the biggest loser was the mainstream media. But give me your thoughts on this. Cam Harris returns to the spotlight and immediately embarrasses herself. What is her intention? Is she running for governor of the People's Republic of California, or do you think Cam is preparing to run for president again? If that's the case, do you think she has a chance? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.